So it's January here in the Dallas, Texas metro, and as you can see, snow. Now, nobody actually told me that Dallas, Texas got snow before we moved here, and in fact, one of the reasons that we did move here was because you got nicer weather than Colorado and Iowa. And that begs the question, what are the other seasons actually like in the Dallas, Texas metro? So in this video, we're going to dive into exactly what the weather's like in each season in Dallas, so you know exactly what to expect before moving here. So we're going to kick this whole thing off by talking about winter in Dallas, and in order to do that, I'm going to need to drink some coffee. By the way, my name is Michael.caraway. I'm a realtor here in the Dallas, Texas metro, and I absolutely love getting to work with people just like you who are looking to make the move to the Dallas, Texas metro. One of my personal favorite things to do is brainstorming what community is the perfect fit for you. So if you want some help figuring out where you should land in the Dallas, Texas metro, or just want some help finding that perfect house for you, then reach out. Shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email, anytime, seriously. I'm here to help you make the move to the Dallas, Texas metro. Winter in Dallas is definitely not what I expected it to be. Now, growing up in Iowa and then living out in Colorado for several years, I'm obviously used to really cold winters and a lot of snow, freezing rain, all that stuff that you have to deal with up in those areas. And when we were thinking about moving to Dallas, obviously there was a bunch of reasons that went into why we wanted to move here, but one of those, benefits that we saw was the weather is going to be absolutely amazing. But it turns out that's not the case all the time. The best way I can describe the winter weather in Dallas is that it's a bit wacky. It's a little all over the place. So right now it's January, and just a few weeks ago it was 80 degrees outside. I was out in shorts and a tank top. I was running. I even took my shirt off while I was running. It felt amazing. And fast forward a few weeks, there's snow on the ground, it's freezing outside, and freezing is like 30 degrees here, and nobody wants to go outside. And that's honestly been kind of the experience in winter since I've been living in Dallas. One week it'll be super nice, everybody will be outside. You can see some people enjoying dining outside on patios, running, walking, all that kind of stuff. But then cold front will come through and everybody just kind of stays inside. But what's the temperature actually like in Dallas in the winter? Well, if we look at the averages, the highs usually are around the high 50 degree range, and the lows average out around the high 30 degree range. So you're fluctuating anywhere in that 30 to 50 degree range, and then you have those outlier times where you do get up into the 70s and the 80s, or potentially you dip down into 10 degrees. So the winters are all over the place, but generally speaking, they are relatively mild compared to places in the north like Iowa or even out west in Colorado. And the question that I get a lot is, how often does it snow in Dallas? Well, to be honest, not very often, but it does happen. You can expect it at least once or twice a year. So we're in January right now, and we've gotten our second snowfall of the year. And really, it's hard to say it's a snowfall. Earlier this year we had actual snowflakes, but nothing really stuck to the ground, so you don't really count that. And then this time around, we did get stuff that's stuck on the ground, but it's actually mostly ice, and it's not really snow. So it's not like you can go out and build a snowman or anything like that. But I remember last year too, there was a storm that we got a few inches of snow that stuck on the ground for a few days. So snow does happen, it just doesn't happen super frequently. But when it does happen, watch out, because the city just shuts down. Coming from the north where snow is like a consistent thing that happens all the time, it's just part of your life. I got a little disappointed in the people of Dallas once I actually moved here. I'm not kidding, no matter how much snow is on the ground, if it could be a quarter of an inch up to 12 inches, 15 inches, whatever, it doesn't matter. If there's snow on the ground, people just stay home and businesses shut down. You'd think there is this massive storm coming in, grocery shelves are empty. This last storm, we went to the grocery store, we couldn't find a loaf of bread anywhere because the shelves were empty. Nobody's out driving. I was out driving earlier today and literally was the only car on the road. I was one of the few tracks that I saw on the road. Just absolute nuts. People do not want to drive it. And even if you wanted to go out and say get a coffee or go and get a sandwich or something, you probably can't when it snows. People shut down. We're on day 2 right now of this storm. We haven't gotten any snow today. It was all yesterday. And businesses are still shut down today. I can't even go out and get a coffee if I wanted to. So that is a negative about the winter here in Texas, is that it does not snow very much, but when it does, everything just shuts down and you get a little disappointed in society. So winter is not terrible here in Dallas. It's not the, summer paradise that I thought we were going to have when we moved here, but it's pretty mild, and compared to a lot of other places, I'm stoked to be here, where it doesn't really dip below 30 degrees that often. You can still get outside and exercise, you can still go for a walk, you can still sit on a patio some days. Kids are still practicing sports outside, so life continues in the winter during Dallas, but it's not the paradise that I once thought it was. And needless to say, I get excited when springtime rolls around. So spring in Dallas is a much needed warm up after winter, and people actually come out of hibernation again and become more active. Things are heating up, things are starting to turn green in Dallas. It's just a really great, beautiful time here in the Dallas, Texas metro. But what I will say is that, when we moved to Dallas, it was during the springtime and something really surprised us, and that was the humidity. In my opinion, the springs that I've been here typically feel way more humid than it does in the summer. That being said, it's okay because the temperatures are definitely not as hot in the springtime as they are in the summer here. Things are pretty mild once again compared to a lot of the hotter states like Arizona, for example. During the springtime, you're going to have highs in the mid 70s to 80s. You're going to have lows that are anywhere between the 50s and 60s. So really beautiful weather, and you can handle some of the humidity that does come here to the Dallas, Texas metro. The other thing to note about the springtime in Dallas, Texas is that you get a lot of rain. This area in particular averages around 6 inches of rain, and that's strictly in May. But the rain is super welcome here because once you get into the summer months, that rain just goes away. So we really need a lot of rain in the springtime to be able to handle all of that dryness in the summer. Now, as far as lifestyle in Dallas during the spring, people get outside. People are super active in the spring. After a somewhat cold winter, people are excited to get out in short sleeves, enjoy some of the sun, start opening up some pools, and to start enjoying that patio season at some of the best restaurants around town. So yes, spring is an absolutely amazing time here in the Dallas, Texas metro. It makes up for that little bit of a colder winter that you have, and it's a little bit of relief before we get into the heat of summer. Kind of the calm before the storm. And that brings us to summer, and this is when people go back into hibernation. And this time it's because it gets hot. So yes, there's no beating around the bush. It gets hot in the Dallas, Texas metro. But everybody told me before I moved down here that it's going to be unbearable and that the humidity is absolutely terrible in the summer and all that kind of stuff. But to be honest, I don't agree with that. It's really not that bad. So I mentioned I grew up in Iowa, and the humidity in Iowa is absolutely off the charts. I don't know the exact reason why. I think it's something to do with all of the crops there that just produce and hold on to so much moisture. But it feels like you're in a tropical environment in Iowa, and I do not miss that at all. Dallas is a breath of fresh air compared to that weather up there. But you cannot get over the fact that it does get hot. So as far as temperatures go in the summer, you're gonna see highs around the mid 90s and lows in the high 70s. And realistically, it really hovers between that 70-degree range on the low end all the way up to the 100-degree range on the high end. But you do get a lot of days that are 100 degrees or above. Just last summer, it was actually the 4th hottest summer recorded in history here in the Dallas, Texas metro. We had 47 100-degree days, and 21 of those days were in a row. So it was a brutal stretch. The grass basically burnt up everywhere. Everybody had to go into water conservation mode. You couldn't run your sprinklers. You started looking at ponds around here, and all the pond levels were getting really low. Cities had to put out ordinances on water management. So that's something to think about, that does happen in the Dallas, Texas metro, specifically in summer. Really, you don't get that outside of summer, but it's something that you do have to deal with if you do have that hot stretch of summer without the rain. And all the hot weather makes it super, super nice to be able to have a pool or access to a pool in a community. I'm not kidding, it makes a huge, huge difference to have access to a pool when you have that hot weather, because otherwise it's really hard to get a reason to go outside. You still have people that are gonna enjoy those patios at restaurants, but only the ones that have those fancy misters that keep you cool. If you go at night, it is really nice at night, but during the day, if you're gonna go out for lunch or something, forget about it, it's too hot. Outdoor exercising can still happen, but to be honest, it should not happen during the middle of the day. It's way too hot. I'm a runner, and if I don't get my run done at 5 a.m. in the morning, then it is brutal. I have to wait until 8, 9 o'clock at night for it to feel somewhat comfortable again. So to wrap up the summer portion of this, yes, summer is hot. It can be kind of brutal to deal with, but it is a temporary blip in time that sets you up for the best season in Dallas, which is fall. Now, fall is the absolute best season in Dallas, hands down, no question. That is not even an opinion, it's fact. It is amazing. You got such a beautiful balance of beautiful mornings and nights mixed in with slightly warmer days. All around, it's just a super comfortable time temperature-wise and weather-wise. It's the perfect weather to just be outside. As far as temperatures go in the fall, you're gonna see highs from the upper 70s all the way up to the upper 80s and lows in the upper 50s to upper 60s. So super manageable, super comfortable, and perfect weather to be outside. Now, like I mentioned, you barely get any rain in the summer, but thankfully once fall rolls around, we start to get a little bit more rain and things actually start to green up a little bit. It's kind of like a second spring in a way. A lot of the grass burns up during the summer, but then gets green again in the fall. The average rainfall in October, for example, is 6 inches again, so similar to the springtime. And as far as lifestyle goes, people resurge again. People are outside, they're walking their dogs, they're just enjoying time at the park. It truly is, in my opinion, probably the most active time for people to get outside in the Dallas, Texas metro. And couple that with some of the fall foliage that happens in the area, it is just a beautiful time to be outside, especially if you go to a place like, Oak Point Park. It's one of my favorite places to go for a walk or a jog, and the fall colors there are absolutely stunning. It's just a good time to go do things that are outside. Fall's also when we go to places like the zoo, or if we're gonna go to like an amusement park or something like that, it's absolutely the time to do it. Now, there are pros and cons to every single season in Dallas, Texas, but what I can say is I really do appreciate having some variety. I really can't imagine it being one temperature and one type of weather the entire year. I like it being mixed up, and I think Dallas really is about the perfect combination of everything because you get a little bit of every season. And remember, no matter where you are in the process of moving to Dallas, make sure to reach out. Shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email anytime. Seriously, I'm here to help you make the move to the Dallas, Texas metro. Until next time, I'll see you later.